You know how I've talked about Republicans cheat when they know they're about to get their ass kicked. And as a result of the cheating, these are Christian Republicans, as a result of their cheating, then they win. Well, here's a good example. Kansas, which is run by the entire state, every elected officer in the state, statewide elected officer, I should say, is a Christian. And most of the county offices are Christians, too. It's Kansas, for Christ's sake. Well, for people in Dodge City, Kansas, Dodge City, the iconic Dodge City, Kansas, it's going to become very difficult for people who live there to vote. I'll tell you why in a second. Right now, Hispanics make up 60% of the population of Dodge City, Kansas. 60%. And as everybody knows, every Hispanic in America votes Democratic. So that has to be interrupted. So they came up with a really good idea. First of all, a little geography. The city is 160 miles west of Wichita, Kansas. Also, Dodge City at one time was a typical dying prairie town, but the people there decided to turn it into a Wild West motif city, just like it was back in the day when it was a destination of cowboys and buffalo hunters and people who frequented the Long Branch Saloon. So, the Associated Press adds this: at a time when many rural towns are slowly dying, the arrival of two massive meatpacking plants boosted Dodge City's economy and transformed its demographics as immigrants from Mexico and other countries flooded in to fill the jobs. Now, in the first place, we are supposed to believe, because the Christians will tell us this, that immigrants steal white people's jobs. How many white people do you know, if any, who just can't wait to go to work in a meat packing plant? Where they take dead chickens and render them into pieces, or where they get cow carcasses coming down the line and a piece is whacked off for them so they can chop it into steaks and things. How many white people do you know who just relish those jobs? Yeah, well, me either. I don't know anybody of the Caucasoid race who likes that at all. But when you are desperate looking for a job and you have family back in the old country that you would like to bring to the new country, but it takes money, and you're Hispanic, you'll take these meatpacking jobs. So that's what they did. But they also turned the town of Dodge City, Kansas, into a tourist attraction. So they got the jobs at the meat rendering plants, and they got the tourist attraction here. Great idea. However, the State Board of Elections allocated one polling site for Dodge City, Kansas, 27,000 residents. One. Now, since the year 2002, that one site was at the Civic Center, which is just blocks from the local country club in the wealthy white part of town. That's where that one precinct has always been. And the lovely white people would go in and vote and then go home. But the lovely not white people hesitated and sometimes, most of the time, just decided maybe we shouldn't go. But now that Hispanics make up 60% of the population, all of a sudden the polling place has been moved. It's no longer right down there from the Civic Center where anybody in town literally could walk to it. No, the state of Kansas decided to move it outside the city limits to a place which is more than a mile from the nearest bus stop These fuckers are really slick. Don't you love Christian Republicans? They are so goddamn cool as they deny people the right to vote, because everybody knows if you're not white, you're going to vote Democratic. The state also had the unmitigated gall. I don't like that. The state also had the balls to say that the reason they moved it was because of road construction that blocked the previous site near the country club in the white section of town. Road construction. So they had to move it way the fuck out of town. Johnny Dunlap, chairman of the Ford County, that's Dodge City, Ford County Democratic Party said, quote, "It is shocking that we only have one polling place. But that is only kind of scratching the surface of the problem. On top of that, not only is it irrational and ridiculous that we only have one polling place, but Dodge City is one of the few majority cities in the state." Oh, Johnny, Johnny, Johnny. I know you're trying to sound rational, even though you're dealing with insane, irrational, Christian, fascist, white people. So when you say it's shocking that we only have one polling place, it may be shocking to you or to people of color, but it's not shocking to the white folks. And to say that it's irrational and ridiculous that in a city that is majority minority, we only have one polling place and now it's outside of fucking town. No, Johnny, that's not irrational. That's mucho rational. And it's not ridiculous. It's mucho ridiculous to think otherwise. Because everybody knows that people of color always vote Democratic, and now that Dodge City, Kansas is 60% Hispanic, why 2 + 2 is 4. But if we move the polling place way the fuck out of town, then 2 + 2 becomes 3. Works backwards. The Democratic Party database compiled from state voter data shows Hispanic turnout during non-presidential elections is just 17%. Compared to the white voter turnout, 61%. Hispanic people of Dodge City, Kansas, 17%? Really? And that's when the polling place was in town. 17%? May I make a suggestion, Hispanic people of Dodge City, Kansas? No matter what the fuck it takes, walk, crawl, take the bus to the end of the line, walk the last mile, get a fucking car, get a bus, get a goddamn jet plane, a horse, ride a fucking big dog. But whatever you do, go vote. Because everybody knows that you people of color only vote Democratic. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. You have your choice. You can listen to the ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.